All right, this video is going to be a quick video on introducing the Python interpreter, the shell. It's what we call the shell. So when you load Python, you go down to idle and you search for it and you load your interactive development environment. This is your interpreter. This is the shell. We know it's the shell because we have the prompt that has the three greater than signs. So basically the shell sits here and it's waiting for commands. We demonstrated in the previous video, I can do things like to the screen. I spelled something wrong. Preont. Print to the screen. Okay, it'll do mathematical calculations like a calculator, 2 plus 2. So this is basically our interpreter, our interactive shell. So we want to go through refresher of programming. Remember, programming is not what we watch in the movies, a bunch of zeros and ones scrolling across the screen. Programming to us is writing in a language that the computer can understand, Python in this case. We have an interpreter that installed on the computer that can understand the Python programming language. And it's us identifying the actual executable statements that we want to be executed in sequential fashion. Then we'll learn how to actually break that sequential flow of control by using different programming constructs like the while and for loops, and then using conditional constructs like the if statement and whatnot. So before we get started, though, we do remember, how can we find help? Programming is awesome in the sense of you cannot break anything. So whatever you do, just try it. Just try it out. If you have a question about something, try it. You can't break anything. However, if you keep trying, and then you eventually you can't figure it out, then make sure you understand what is the error by looking at the error first. So for example, here's an error that I just had. Remember I said everything that is red, when the interpreter comes back with output and it has something red, it's telling you that there's an error. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is look at what is the type of error. And so in this instance, it's called name error. Name preont is not defined. So think about what the error the interpreter is trying to tell you, and you might be able to figure out exactly what's wrong. You could look at this and say, name preont is not defined. Oh, I misspelled print. Okay. If for some reason you can't figure it out, then copy it. And then you can go to, of course, our trusty Google, put it in Google and see what it comes back with. Python name error, name print is not defined. Okay, so maybe search on it. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. Okay, if for some reason after you search tirelessly and you can't figure it out, well, then ask for help on the internet. Here's two great resources for you: Stack Overflow and Reddit Learn Programming. Okay, all the ways that you can find help. But however, before you do any of that, number one, always try to figure it out yourself. You want to get called a noob? This is one way to do it. You try something programming wise, you get a quick error and you can't figure it out. Well, no, you get a quick error and then you just jump on Stack Overflow and say, hey, what's wrong with my code? Basically, you haven't tried to explore it or figure it out yourself. That's a noob. That's what noobs do. Okay. So step one, always try to figure it out yourself. If you need to ask, always explain what you're trying to do. Make sure you specify the point at which the error happens. Copy and paste your entire code. Explain what you've already tried in order to solve it. And also you might need to list what version of software that you're using. Okay. You do all of that. There's tons of people out there that's willing to help you. Stack Overflow is beautiful. However, if you don't attempt to do any of this on your own, nobody's going to help you. Okay. All right, let's jump into the interactive shell. Here's how you can run the interactive shell. When you go to the interactive shell and you have it up and you use it like a calculator, you can say something like 3 plus 3. The answer is 6. We know our concepts, our terminology. There is the value 3, the mathematical operator addition, and another value 3. Okay, so we have two values in an operator.